How are the lawn signs in New Hampshire?
Where I am, it's pretty mixed.
Yeah.
I see a lot of, Trump Harris stretches of road. I would say it's pretty liberal generally, but I personally am refreshed by a bit of discourse, because living here, I wasn't really getting a lot of that. Although I guess I guess it's shifting a little. There's this, when I went to your party, I learned the phrase horseshoe theory, your gala.
Oh, you only learned horseshoe theory at the Mars Review White Party.
Okay,
oh, yeah.
You got to understand, I don't go on the internet much.
That's right. We're going to talk about that. But
I feel like the guy who got to explain that to me was so excited.
Oh,
yeah,
you made his month. There's no greater pleasure in life than explaining memes to women. Like, that's like...
He was like, and it's political, amazing.
Yeah. No, that's what, the Mars Review reader lives for.
That's why you invited women to the party.
Yes, precisely. Precisely. New Hampshire's a bellwether state. Did you know this?
I did not know that.
Up until, I think, the first time Trump got elected.
What
the first time Trump won. Not the second time he won.
I like that. It's in the bag.
Yeah, the first. Oh, no, this would be the third time.
Oh, God. Wait. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
When Trump won 8 years ago, I think that was the first time that the candidate that New Hampshire voted for was not the candidate who won the election. Up until then, every single time New Hampshire had predicted the president.
So they've lost it.
They lost. We lost the mandate of heaven.
Do you still vote there, or are you registered here?
I'm registered here.
Okay.
I could, be a fake ass carpetbagger like Mitt Romney, and I'm sure it wouldn't be very hard.
I mean, for me, a big reason why I'm moving there is the lack of income tax.
Yes.
And sales tax.
Yes.
I've been switching. Like, I just bought a car in Connecticut, and I told them I'm moving to New Hampshire, and they waived the sales tax. So I saved like $600 on that.
Wow.
Because I'm registering it. You pay sales tax when you register, so it's already served me very well living there.
Wow.
Cost of living is not really lower, honestly. Like, I'm renting a room there now. I have a roommate, and it's $1,200. So
yeah. This surprised me too. I think people act like everything's so much cheaper. No, I think inflation has hit all of everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I got burgers at the cute kind of Lynchian burger joint in Concord, New Hampshire the last time I was there. And my burger and fries was $15.95, just like it is here.
I know.
That's how much it is at Pubkey.
I have to say, I am very guilty of romanticizing my small town life, but that is one thing that is just, I left New York thinking, I'm going to save so much money. I'm sacrificing culture and community, but I'm going to save money. And then I got there and I was like, cool, no events, no scene, none of my close friends are here, and I'm paying the same amount, and I had to buy a car, which was 7 months of rent. So...
But no sales tax.
No sales tax.
You're gonna make it back really quickly. You're close to Keene.
Yeah.
All real New Hampshire heads will know that Keene's a cool little town.
It is
There's
cool.
a little movie theater.
That's where my roommate and I are going to go to pick up people, because the town is so small you just can't. You can't date.
Oh, yeah, to pick up people.
In our
you mean to pick up victims, yeah. I thought you just meant Keene's a good place to pick up people, definitely. Yeah. There was a record store last time I was there.
There was a
15 years
pumpkin
ago.
carving contest going on while I was there.
Yeah.
Lots of fun local traditions that I'm being exposed to.
Yeah. Old Man in the Mountain. He fell off.
He did?
Do you know about the Old Man in the Mountain?
Well, he's on every sign.
Yeah, and on our quarters.
Yeah. What happened?
His face fell off.
Do people climb him?
It's a very New Hampshire. Somehow it's a very fitting symbol. No, it just fell off naturally. Yeah.
Wow.
But so you moved to New Hampshire after a fellowship at McDowell.
Thought you were going to say after a mental breakdown. And I was going to be that's how it happened.
That too.
Yeah.
And you just liked it.
Yeah, it was a wild turn of events, I went to McDowell for this fellowship, which I did not in a million years think that I would get. It was my first time applying for fellowships. I had just gotten a deal on my first book when I applied. So I applied being like, I'm going to publish this book, but there was no documentation that was actually happening. It wasn't on the internet. I could have just made it up. So I thought, I'm too early career, but I guess they were open-minded when my application came through. So so I got to go to McDowell in New Hampshire. For those of you who don't know, it's free. You get to have a studio. You get food. You get to hang out with a bunch of writers and artists, except you're not in a city. That's probably the only place you really get to do that, is like hang out with a bunch of really cool people who usually live and work in cities, and but you're in like the beautiful woods and it's quiet. So I was there, I was having the best time, and I was also trying to figure out where I was going to live, because I hadn't had a place to live since moving back from London in April. So it was really like, I had 6 weeks there, and I was like, by the end of these 6 weeks, I want to know where I'm going to live. And I kept asking people, and these are people who've lived in tons of places and have wonderful ideas. And they were all very helpful. And then I ended up just going out to the local bar one night, and I ran into a few of the guys that work at McDowell and have worked there. It's like pretty much if you grow up in that town, you've worked at McDowell.
It's a one fellowship town.
Yeah. It's a big employer, and so I just talked to them, and they were like, "You should move here," and I was like, "Well, that would be very creepy if I just left. If I refused to
my
leave."
My fellowship is not over yet.
Well, because when I got there, I was like, "This is too good to be true." I can imagine that sometimes when people's residencies end, they might just
kill themselves.
They might just refuse to leave. Like,
oh yeah.
I'm not leaving this room.
How long was it for?
6 weeks.
6 weeks, yeah.
So you're living. That was the longest that I lived anywhere in like a year, being there for 6 weeks.
That was the longest that you lived anywhere in a year?
Yeah.
Wait, so every city in the previous year you had been in?
I've been in cities for longer, but I mean in a room, like in a specific bed living situation.
Oh.
So it was funny when I got there. I was like, I bet a bunch of crazies try to stay here, and then by the end of it, I was looking for apartments in town.
Yeah.
I still go there once a week just to hang out with people. They have Friday drinks, so I step on campus, but it's very much like my head's down. I don't want to be seen by the office people because it's really weird. I just went to the McDowell benefit gala a few nights ago, and I was like, hey, see you guys later this week. So it's really weird, but yeah, so I'm living there now. I'm trying it.
It does seem like you should be able to recreate this thing that a fellowship is without like it shouldn't be that hard to get like 20 more or less interesting young people to like live somewhere that isn't New York City.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think that it should happen. It's kind of happened in, the Catskills or something like that. Like there are places. I think the problem with it is that at a real residency, there are people selecting who comes, know, and telling them when to leave. And then suddenly when it's on you to be like, all right, you've been here long enough,
right.
or you don't get to come, or you do get to come. Then it becomes more complicated.
Right. And there are people cooking for you. Yeah. And cleaning. And people are just too embarrassed to do that. Like you could probably, like if you wanted to recreate this, you could like hire like a cook and a maid. And if like 20 people chip in, probably wouldn't be so bad.
It would probably be more like a communal share thing.
See, this is what everybody thinks is like, oh, it should be a communal share thing. And then like Jimmy's not like cleaning his hair out of the shower drain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
but I do believe
just like get a cook and a cleaner.
No, I agree. And I think it's absolutely possible. And I think people are very quick to shut down these ideas of alternate communities. Like, oh, that sounds like a cult or a commune. When it's like, well, is your life working for you?
Yeah.
Like your life where you're completely separated from any community and you have no support and you're just like stressed and trying to take care of yourself, and like everybody in your apartment building owns a vacuum when you only need one.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that's not working.
For sure.
But then when you try something alternative, it's immediately shut down.
Yeah. That was the other thing I was going to say is like, I just feel like it does turn into a sex cult sometimes. I think that's the other
I think
danger.
people who are open-minded about
Yeah.
living situations are also open-minded about partnership.
For sure. Have you seen Wild Wild Country?
No.
Oh, you really should see it.
Oh wait, that's the one about.
Osho. It's about
yeah,
Osho.
I actually have seen. I don't know why. I just like. I thought it.
People seem really happy, and when you even for people who haven't seen, this was a commune created by an Indian gentleman. He changed his name a lot of times, but it's Osho towards the end.
Yeah.
And part of his ethic was free love.
Yeah.
Roughly speaking. I remember at one point the neighbors are like, they sound like animals the way they're
sex
fucking
cult,
every night.
Like they had photos of it. It was just like bodies, you know?
Yeah. So it was orgiastic.
Crazy. Like the floor was carpeted in human flesh.
Wow, I haven't seen those photos.
Oh, okay. Do you think that I just invented that?
They weren't in the documentary. No, I believe it.
What's in my mind? Oh God, I really hope that's in the documentary.
But yeah, I mean, but when he was founding this commune in what was it, Idaho,
Or Washington or something?
maybe, Oregon, Washington. You know, it was like sort of just about like working the land and like, you know, living a spiritual life.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, they seem to be a little overworked on the building front. Like, there seemed to be a lot of construction going on.
Yeah.
But then again, they had to build their own town.
Yeah.
I feel like if you could just cut that part out and buy a big house and a property. I mean, this is my vision in terms of anti-tech.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anti. I don't want to live a life that's anti anything. I want to live a life that's, you know, pro or just is whatever it is. But that's just how I would phrase it. But I would love to. Well, I wouldn't love to live in a place that is separate from the world. But I feel like with the way things are going, like when I come to New York, I'm just like assaulted by screens and moving images constantly.
Yeah.
And that's in addition to, you know, the age-old city phenomenon of just people moving around, you know, and that being kind of stressful, and there's noises and sounds and stuff like that. I can take that, but the fact that there's now that all advertisements are animated, you go on the subway and you can't look anywhere without looking at a screen.
Yeah.
So even if you're not carrying one, you're looking at one, and everybody else is looking at one, so you're looking at other people looking at them, and the only way to get out of that is to, I guess, create an alternate universe now.
I think it is actually just stressful to see too many faces. I was reading Robert Graves' utopian novel, Watch the North Wind Rise. And that's one of the things, when they go into the town, they like shield their eyes, right? So that they don't see too many faces.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you see somebody's face, you kind of have to like imagine who they are a little bit, even subconsciously.
It does take emotional energy from you.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because the town where I live now has 6,000 people, and I'm always asking my friends who've lived there their whole lives, when we go to a bar or something, I'm like, what percentage of people here do you recognize, you know? And it really depends on the context. Like if we go to a sports, like a high school sports game, they'll maybe say hi to like half the people because it's a smaller community. But if you go to the local bar, you know, it's not necessarily the same age demographic that you're expecting. So it's a wider variety, or people coming through town maybe. But it's a pretty high percentage that they recognize. And I've never had that in my life because I grew up in New Haven, which is a city, but I also grew up in the suburbs of New York for a bit, and that doesn't have a community feeling to it. So it's not like a town. You don't recognize people. And I can't imagine what that's like. Just feeling like I recognize it. I've seen that guy around, but for every single person.
This is why people like Dime Square so much.
Yeah.
Because you get to recreate that small town.
Yeah,
feel.
when you walk through Diamond Square, like even me, I just come in for an event. I don't really know people here, but I can't walk through Diamond Square without seeing people I know. Yeah. And I'm nobody.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe Pubkey will be like that too. Like I would love to come to Pubkey and like know every person here. Pubkey is the bar.
Yeah,
downstairs.
I went into the
Have you been
bar.
here?
I said I'm looking for my friend Noah, and they were like, it seems Noah is not here yet. Like I just like made you up, and they had no idea who you were. So you might recognize them, but
damn, I'm not known by first name. But yeah, I got to work on that.
Yeah.
I knew the bartenders here for a little while, but there's some new blood.
Yeah.
So
You got to strengthen your community.
yeah, I do. I'm pulling out my laptop because I
what
want
are you doing on there?
because I want to read from your pamphlet, which
Oh,
I just
wow.
read.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed. It's a pro dumb phone, anti smartphone pamphlet.
I wouldn't say, like, it is pro dumb phone, but if you don't want to have any phone, be my guest, you know?
Right.
It can also just be anti smartphone.
Right. When did you write it?
Over the summer at McDowell, actually.
Okay. I'm just gonna lead off with, something I found a little bit harrowing.
Okay.
But that's the thing. You don't really think about phone addiction being harrowing. Not the same way you think of like a heroin addiction or a gambling addiction.
Actually, originally I was going to put in as part of the introduction, a note that says I'm going to use addiction language that people are more comfortable hearing when it pertains to drugs and alcohol, and I know that's considered, an exaggeration or that it's offensive, but I personally, like, I grew up around drug addiction and I saw that, and I like, people in my family have been to rehab, and had a lot of drug issues, and I've seen that, and I really just, like, the patterns are so similar. I read a story about that. I read a story about drug addiction at a reading with you recently. Yeah. So I know those patterns, and I see people do the exact same thing with smartphones. I see the push and pull within them, and so I think it's important to acknowledge that it's addiction, but also I want to caveat the caveat and say, I think that sometimes when you talk about it with addiction language, people go, oh, well, that's not me. I'm not an addict. Like, that's too extreme. But even people who aren't addicted, by whatever standard they have in their minds for addiction, they'd still be happier and better.
Yeah. There's also a part where you say, like, I know a few people for whom, like, the phone doesn't have this kind of psychotic pull.
It's so
and I also
rare.
know what you mean. Yeah, it's like, oh,
and they're not
people
listening to this podcast.
Yeah. But I mean, I identify much more with you in feeling that, like, the advent of the smartphone completely ensorcelled me.
Yeah.
Seemed to ensorcell everybody around me.
Wait, how old are you?
34.
Okay, so like, you're slightly later. Like,
I'm later, and I basically had, in high school for me, people did not have smartphones, and that's a big difference, I think. And I think that sort of allowed me to become a reader, right? Like,
I didn't start reading till my mid-20s.
Really?
Yeah.
And
it's my job now, you know? Like, and I was not a bookish kid because I was so lonely that the phone was a way out of that.
Yeah. I want to ask you about that too, because that's, I think, a question a lot of people will have, and one I had is like, oh, professional life and not having a phone. And I remember that I had, my early adulthood was a Luddite period. So I didn't get my first smartphone until I was 26, which was around 2016. And I got a job in publishing, and nobody was like, you have to have a smartphone. But I was like, I think they're probably going to be asking me to, like, tweet and Instagram stuff. And, like, what if I'm, like, working from home or, like, whatever. But okay, let me read this passage. You can find this pamphlet on August's everything.
Yeah. I just want to say this is an illicit digital version.
This is true. I ordered the print version, but it's not here yet. I wanted to be able to talk about it.
It's meant to be read on paper.
Yeah. Picture yourself in a decade. You can't know what you'll be wearing, where you'll be living, how your hair will be styled, what you'll have achieved, whether you'll be single or partnered, healthy or sick. But you can say with certainty that, barring any radical change, you will still use a smartphone. You will still struggle with boundaries, with striking a balance between digital and real-world activities. The impulse to check will be constant. You will cycle between resisting and indulging that impulse. You will feel shame when you give in. You will blame yourself for a lack of willpower and self-control. You will resolve to be better. You will never get better. Why? Because you're not supposed to. That really resonated with me because as a cigarette smoker,
Yeah.
I've had this thought of like, so many things in my life have changed, like, but like the one, it's like the one constant is this nasty habit.
Yeah, yeah.
Which, by the way, I quit. Although I'll probably, we'll
congratulations!
see.
When was
Thanks.
that?
Like a month ago.
Great.
I'd quit, but well, yeah, and we'll, not one day at a time.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that there's a difference between framing it as, okay, I'm just going to have this cigarette versus in 10 years, I'm still going to feel this craving. I'm still going to want to smoke this. And that sucks. Like, that's what really freaked me out, was being like, this is my future. Like, at every point in my life, like, I'm thinking about all these, future experiences I might have. I'll be thinking like, oh, I can't wait to go to the bathroom so I can check my phone, or like, I wonder if this person's written me, or like, can I pull out my phone and check and not be rude right now? And, or like, should I post this thing? No, it's not time sensitive. Oh, it is kind of time sensitive. Should I answer this email right now? Oops, I shouldn't have read that email because now I'm stressed. Like, it's just like constant. And I was like, I don't want to be that. Like, and I don't know, this sounds very naive, but I don't know why people are able to imagine their ideal selves and lives, which like most people are like, I want to be really present and do a bunch of hobbies and activities and whatever, and just like enjoy my life and experience every minute. People can imagine that, but they can't take what I see as just one step to make that more likely. Yeah.
Ain't that always the way? I mean, it's easy. Yeah, it's.
But even like smoking doesn't, like, yeah, it's horribly damaging to your health, and you could say yes, it does take time off your life. But like with your phone, it's literally hours every day. You're just like saying, okay, like regardless of the effect on your presence and your attention span and everything, like setting all those things aside, the actual time you spend on it, you're just like, you might as well just sit down and write sell your soul to the devil type contract and be like, I give away X many years of my life to my smartphone.
Yeah.
And that's it. You're not going to be doing anything else in this moment. And you won't remember what you did when you were scrolling.
I still remember the first guy in my friend group who got one.
Yeah.
And like, we're all like sitting around hanging out and like talking. And he's like looking at his iPhone. And people find it so outrageous at the time. They're like, it's like, what a loser.
Yeah.
Like that you would be like on your phone hanging out.
Yeah.
And now it's considered like completely outrageous to find that outrageous.
Yeah, and actually I've gotten in trouble for that. Like for
finding it outrageous.
I'm really self-restrained now. I never say anything, but I have to say, just like, it has nothing to do with activism and idealism, but when I'm telling someone a personal story and they pull out their phone, like, a part of my soul dies. Like, it's, and especially when, I really don't mind if someone's like, hey, let me just answer this really quickly and then I want to hear your story, but I just have to do that. But when they don't say that, so then you don't know what to do, so you just keep talking. I don't know if it's worse when you keep talking, they don't say anything, but you just feel like you have to keep telling the story, but they're not listening and it's really important to you, or you stop talking and they say, oh no, keep going, or you stop talking and they don't notice you stopped. Like, it's all just horrible. Every path that it could possibly take is awful and feels just like, I wish I hadn't even opened up to this person or spent time with them. I wish I just hung out alone.
How did you come to A, discard your smartphone, and B, write this book? Like, what's a little bit of the origin story?
Well, I mean, both have to do with influencing. So, yeah, it's really complicated. Well, when I say influencing, I have no idea what that means. What I mean when I say that is having a large enough following that when you do something or say something or post something, it gains traction. And
how did you develop that?
That was through doing drawings. So, so that had nothing to do with any of this. I was just writing this essay about my early days on Instagram, and I just did all the grossest stuff. Like, just paragraphs of hashtags when hashtags were still effective. You know, it's like Art Daily, Artists on Instagram, like Sketchbook Queen, whatever was
Sketchbook Queen. I like that.
like I don't know what actually these hashtags are, but at the time it was that you could start typing a hashtag and it would suggest stuff, you know. So you'd write art and it would be like top art posts, and then you just mindlessly select that because it would say 500,000 people have used that hashtag, so you'd use that, and then God knows who's checking these hashtags, but people would, and they'd find you, and I'd write like pen and ink or illustration or cute baby animals because there's a lot of that, and then I'd figure out which of those worked best, and then it would be like a leaderboard of the best hashtags, and then I'd use those, and then I'd find a rogue success of a hashtag and use that, and a lot of those kind of calls to action, like tell me your favorite, like 1 through 10, and oh God, stuff that I go back through my posts and I'm like, oh my God, it's me holding up art supplies being like, giveaway, tell me like your favorite pen in this pack. It's not me.
People love to get involved. It's true.
Yes, and it worked.
Yeah.
It worked so much, and it worked to the point where, yeah, I was getting sponsorships. I was getting recognized on the street. Like it was crazy. Like
who sponsors an Instagram jar?
The art supply companies,
Yeah.
but also, like I got a free couch,
Nice.
stuff like that. And then I had to take a bunch of pictures of me on the couch. It was like
Yeah.
so fucking embarrassing, because I wasn't even getting paid for that. I was just like getting the couch and stuff. Like that's nice. I needed a couch, but it's like it's humiliating when I look back on it.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to be an artist, but I was also trying to not have a job, and those sometimes are in conflict with each other. And so I did that for years. I did a lot of blogging, on Instagram, but that for me was just exposing all that I was going through, and it created this cycle of sharing how miserable I was. Like every time I would cry, I would take photos of it and post that, and that would go crazy. People love that, because if you post a crying selfie and you say, I'm really struggling, I'm in a dark place, I don't have a lot of friends, I'm like, my health is bad, you just get like hundreds of DMs.
Because everybody feels the same way.
Well, if they're on their
Right?
phone looking at it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
No, but yeah, just in general.
No, it's totally relatable. And also people feel compelled to, it's like if you walk by someone on the street, and they're like, they've just gone through a breakup, they're crying, like it activates something in you, and you feel like you need to help.
Yeah.
And when people see you're having a nice day, they're like, rock on, have a nice day. But if you're struggling, they're like, oh no, I'm going to tell this person that I like their work, or that I've been through something similar. So it just created this cycle where I had to continually produce misery and then deal with hundreds of DMs about my misery. And then I'd be spending all day fielding those, and then I had no life, so then I was miserable. And so anyway, that just, it all came to a head in, 2019. That was the year that I reached 100,000 followers on Instagram, and it was just exploding. I was at like 170,000, everything was taking off, not in a real art way, like not in a career way, but online.
Well, they're the same thing now.
No, because I was never gonna get in a gallery. My art wasn't good. It wasn't.
Okay.
It was like
You
perdition.
didn't have galleries reaching out to you.
Are you joking?
No, I would assume that
You were being
Well,
sarcastic.
no, because whether you like it or not, in every industry, and whether you believe your art at that time was good or not, like people are paying attention to if you're a chocolate manufacturer and there's like a young woman who, I don't know, you don't actually like DIY make chocolate, but like, I don't know, maybe she makes perfume, you can make perfume, right? And then she has like
No, with art it's
170,000
the opposite.
because it's not cool.
It's seen as lowbrow versus the gallery system.
But what about like Andy Warhol? He would have been huge on Instagram.
That's true. But at least my work, I'm making up this this justification for why I haven't been scouted. My work really isn't good.
Yeah, why weren't you guys putting August in galleries?
No, it's and now so back then I was posting these dinky little drawings. It was like, oh, it's a baby fox the size of my thumbnail, you know, and that to me was embarrassing because I didn't get any creative fulfillment from that. I wasn't expressing anything. It was just like doing this little, you know, dance in a funny hat for attention. That now I post fine art paintings, like portraiture, oil paintings, and still, no. I submit to shows all the time, like group shows, gallery shows, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I mean, I was at a like artists panel with like people sort of like 1 foot out the door of the art world, like Daniel Keller, if you know who that is, or this guy Jared Madère. Daniel Keller was a painter and now works more in tech. Jared Madère, I think, was the youngest person to have a solo show at the Whitney, but has like gotten more into like, you know, kind of crypto world stuff. But they were saying like the tradition of contemporary art, it is like a tradition and it's sort of dead and nobody really knows where to go from there. Like, you know, it used to be like there would be like a new trend. Like when I first moved to the city, it was zombie formalism. Did you hear people talk about this?
I'm so not in the art world.
No, these are like these like short-lived things that don't really mean much to anyone.
I just paint people.
You just paint people, yeah. So that's what I'm saying is like, you know, like, I mean, it's sort of like 2 steps removed from people really looking at paintings and like deciding which ones are good and putting those into shows. Because, okay, when I first moved into the city, it was all about like, do you fit into this trend that like the coolest kids are all about, you know, zombie formalism. And now it's like even that level of like critical acuity is gone, and it's just sort of like, I don't know how people make decisions about what like gets into galleries now, but I think now it's even just more nakedly like quid pro quo and like, you know.
Well, the interesting thing about it is that you don't have to be accepted by the gallery system to make a living.
Yeah.
But the amount that you're making and the amount that you're selling your work for when you're not in the system versus when you are is like, it's unbelievable. Like a work that I would sell to someone just because I need like whatever, like $300. If that were in a gallery, you know, if it were accepted, if it like it would sell for like 30,000.
For sure.
Like that's just what it would be priced at.
Yeah.
Like not saying anything about the quality of the work, but that's how it works. And so it's crazy. Like I can eke out a living and I feel proud of that because I'm like, oh, I'm a painter and I'm earning money. But it's like I'm basically like more like a carpenter, you know, or a handyman or something like that, doing like I'm being paid basically just an hourly wage. It's not like somebody's purchasing this investment. They're paying for the time and the materials that it took to make it. So I guess I mean that's better than a lot of people who want to be artists. So I can't complain.
Yeah. I was complaining about my life as a writer editor with a friend, and he said, you know, when you write something, like there are people who are interested in it and read it, and that's like that puts you in what, like 99.5 percentile, 99.9. Like he's like, you know, there are like people who would like die to like be able to write something and have some people care.
Well, even setting aside the other people, like if you just look at yourself when you were younger and you could just like time travel and say to your 15-year-old self, like, you're going to be like living in New York, making a living doing this stuff, and you're going to have a publication, people will read it, and you're going to have a book deal. You'd be like, whoa, that's amazing.
No, I was an arrogant little shit. I would have been like...
You would have been like, yeah,
I'd have been like, yeah, and... No, but actually...
No way, what?
Yeah.
I always thought I would have to get a desk job or something.
Yeah.
Were your parents very encouraging of your pursuits?
My mom was. You think that's the That's the determinant of...
Well, my mom was a financial consultant, and she was always being like, look, you're not special. Everyone has to get a job.
Yeah.
Like, nobody likes their job.
Yeah.
You grow up and you accept it.
Yeah. Well, I assumed that I would be poor and have like shit, like indeterminate, like, you know, shifts of day jobs, which is basically like what I did for the first 5 years of New York. And then I thought, oh, I'll publish my first novel, and that, you know, when I'm like 26, and it'll be like really good, and then like I'll be on like my path to like whatever, you know, you get some like stories in the New Yorker, then you get a cynic here teaching creative writing at Sarah Lawrence, and like,
obviously.
And I was like, okay, maybe
you haven't done that yet.
And I was like, all right, maybe it won't be that good, and it won't be at Sarah Lawrence. It'll be at, you know, whatever, SUNY Osceola. I don't think Osceola is a real place, but
no, I think there's one that sounds like that.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to think of. But you know, yeah. So that was presumptuous, but.
So did you write the novel that you were expecting to publish at 26, or did that not exist?
Yeah, it didn't exist. Yeah, it took me longer. It took me longer, and in the meantime, I think that career path really dried up. Like, that's not like I look at even like the people from my cohort, my age, who are like really good novel, or you know, they got the golden tickets for like writing novels, getting them published, getting in advance.
Yeah.
I don't really see people like getting these creative writing professor gigs anymore. I think that...
Do you have an MFA?
Ponzi. Yeah, I do.
Okay, because for me, I'm just like, I would be getting those gigs if I had an MFA.
But it used to not matter. It used to just be like, oh, like you're like a successful novelist.
No, everyone has
We want you like to lend our university. Like Robert Frost called it being a poetic radiator. You know, he would go to a university and radiate
just
poetry.
Bestow his warmth.
Yeah, but bestow his, you know, he would give lectures. I think then it was more about lectures and less about teaching. But I think, you know, it's like, oh, Zadie Smith is at NYU. She's radiating Zadiness throughout the campus.
I started an MFA program. I dropped out a few weeks.
Where?
Washington University in St. Louis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I feel very bad about that.
Why?
I just behaved badly. I was there for a few weeks, and then I very unceremoniously dropped out. So I took somebody else's funded spot, and then decided it wasn't for me, left, fled the country, and then it's really bad, this story. Like, it does not make me look good. But then they were getting in touch to ask if I was coming back for the fall semester, for the next fall. And I said, oh no, yeah, they were asking if I was coming back for the fall. This was in like December of the year that I had dropped out. So we're still in the previous fall semester. And then I suddenly said, actually, I want to re-enroll for the spring. I'm going to come back immediately. And I went back to St. Louis. I re-enrolled, signed all the forms, sent them off. Like, they were like, you just got in under the deadline, you know, you're good. And then I just left.
Left again. You know what I think your problem was? Can I move this up a little? Oh, no, it doesn't move.
You twist the knob.
Oh, you twist the knob. I'm just like trying to raise it. Whatever. Twist the knob. Twist the knob? Okay.
Towards you.
Towards me. Like this.
Yeah, don't be shy.
Okay. I don't want to break anything. St. Louis. I think that was the mistake.
I mean, it's not St. Louis, it's a university city, let me tell you. It's not in St. Louis.
Oh, right.
So it's even worse.
Okay.
Yeah, it was bleak. I was going from, I'd been living in Berlin, and then I was living in London for a bit, and then I went to St. Louis, and I just was not prepared.
Yeah.
It was a different time of my life where I felt like I needed urban stimulation to function and to write. But I feel really bad for how I treated the program. They did say, you know, you need to let us know if you're going to come back for the next semester, and I never let them know. But the point of that story was to say that I wrote this very self-effacing, groveling, you know, like pathetic letter where I was like, I'm so sorry. You know, I feel like I'm making a huge mistake and I feel like I'm never going to make it in writing doing this. And I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. But I just can't do this. And I'm so sorry. And, and so I wrote this letter and sent it to them. And they were all like, fine. Some of them didn't reply. But then one of them wrote and she was like, yeah, like you do you. I don't have an MFA. You don't need it.
Yeah.
And she'd been teaching there for decades.
And lo and behold,
oh yeah, and then
you're now a novelist.
Well,
in addition to being
my deal
a
with
writer.
myself was I'm going to give myself a year from dropping out of my MFA program, and if I don't get an agent in that year, then I'll go back and do an MFA. But then I got an agent within a few months. Well, I had to write the novel. I wrote the novel in like 6 months, and then immediately sent it to agents. It was not edited at all. That was a huge mistake. Do not do that. But someone took a chance on me, and yeah.
What was your process like reaching out to agents? Did you just did research on the internet and found
so
people
I
who
compiled
seemed
a
cool?
list and I sent it to 25 people, and then I was very schemy. But you're supposed to do this. Like when one person got back to me, I wrote to everyone and said I have one person interested, and they're reading the full manuscript. Then a few people wrote back and said, "Oh, sorry, I missed your first email. I'll read the full manuscript too."
I missed your first email.
Yeah, well, they've got tons.
No,
of
I
them.
know how. Trust me, I know how it is. Yeah,
So
yeah.
then I was going back to all of them, and then I got up to the point where I was emailing people being like, look, I've got 10 people reading this. And it's like, well, I only have 10 people reading this because I told them that other people were reading it, which they were. But, I kept sending out emails. I'm just going to update you. There's another person who's reading it. So then...
This is how the game is played.
It is how the game is played. I mean, they're playing all sorts of games on their own in the publishing world. So whatever. But then, and then I got 3 offers, and it was just very clear the person that I met and who understood it, and so it was an easy choice for me. But that was in the UK, and now I'm doing the process in the US. Doing it, it's very different the second time.
Oh, that's right. Same agent?
No, so
you have a US agent and a UK agent now.
well, so I was living in the UK, and now I'm technically querying, but it's not really the same thing. It's more like referrals to agencies through my other agency and through friends of mine who are agents. It's not like me just cold emailing because I already have a book deal.
Right.
It's confusing.
It is.
Yeah.
So you're now looking for a US agent.
Yeah.
Got it.
I'm in talks.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so the novel is coming out in the UK.
It's coming out in the UK next year, and then I'm trying to get the US to publish it around the same time.
It's so strange because it's a remnant of like a pre-internet age. Like it comes out in the US. It's like it's the same file.
Yes.
Like you could just print it.
But the whole supply chain is different. And the especially the press is different. So like the blurbs you're getting and the reviews you're getting in the UK are just irrelevant. Like you send that copy over here and people are like, okay, cool that this guy thought it was superb, but who is he? But in the UK he's a best-selling novelist.
Right. But you know what? The press you get here is irrelevant too. Like none of the press matters anymore. Blurbs maybe more so.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm still susceptible to.
Well, yeah,
and press.
you're maybe I'm a little.
Well, I look at
cynical.
the blurbs on the back, and I've been disappointed by this. I don't even know why I still do this, but I'm just like, oh, I like that author. I like that author. I read that person's book. Great. And then I'm just like, this bears no resemblance to any of those things and is horrible, and I don't know, like, who they paid to get these blurbs or who they knew or something, but
Friend of a friend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's very disappointing, but I hope to employ the same strategy for my own book.
Yeah. Yeah, have you've started the blurbing process.
Well, I mean, I would just hope that my friends
process.
will...
For sure.
Like, my friends who are writers who are like, I'm excited to read it. I'm like, I hope you like it,
Yeah.
So...
And what's the name of the book? Remind us.
Lambing Season.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Lambing Season by August Lamm.
Which is, I think, very clever, but you claim is unrelated.
It is unrelated. I actually, my last name growing up was not Lamb. And when I started writing the book, when I had the experience, it's autofiction. When I had the experiences that the book is based on, my last name was not Lamb. This is many years ago, in my early 20s, and it just didn't occur to me. Like, I mean, I was living in this place where I was surrounded by lambs. There were lambs it was lambing season, and like that wasn't my last name, so I didn't really think like, oh, it's me. It makes sense, But now it's very silly. Be great if it could
I
come out
like
in
it.
August next year.
Oh, boom. Yeah. Yeah. Well, just wait till my new novel, The Kumin Harvest, drops in. I guess they're.
Pinch.
Yeah, a pinch of cumin. Cumin soon.
I can just imagine, like, you know how they do those celeb memoirs and they always have a pun in the title where it's just like, life on the spicy side.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate that stuff.
It practically writes itself.
Yeah, well, that's literally what my first novel is, like that dumbass celeb title. Already. It's like already out the gate.
Accelerate. And you're going to read from that tonight. We're August and I are both reading tonight at KGB Bar. I don't know why I'm telling the audience this.
Yeah, they're not going to. Can't attend. Well, maybe they will have attended.
Right.
And this will blow their mind.
And that will totally blow their minds.
The time element will be really confusing.
Yeah.
For them. But no, I'm not reading from it. You know what's really interesting is that I find my writing that works in a novel does not work well on a reading. I don't know if it's like this for you, but I just write completely separate stories for readings that are not even published elsewhere.
That's really smart.
Because also you can say stuff at a reading.
Yeah.
You can't say in print.
True. I was talking to my friend and co-host Mandel about this, and he said, yeah, like, I was complaining about readings a little bit.
What's your beef?
Well, I read, I read in front of, I read most recently at Sovereign House, and it was just like a party. So there wasn't like people sitting down to listen. So that's just like, that's
horrible.
a structural,
that's
a structural problem. But no, well, I kind of liked it because I felt like, it's like, it made me feel like Bob Dylan would talk about like playing not far. Fuck, I feel like I'm already repeating anecdotes. Like when Bob Dylan would play The Gaslight and like nobody would pay attention.
Yeah.
And like, it's like you had to learn how to get the crowd's attention.
Yeah.
And so I appreciated the new knowledge of my lack of knowledge of how to get the crowd's attention.
That's what we all tell ourselves. We're just like, I'm Van Gogh, and that's why my work doesn't sell.
Yeah, exactly. This was some massive cope. But, I feel, anyway. But yeah, Mendel was like, oh no, you gotta like, it's gotta be like stand up, basically.
Yes.
You've gotta like.
You just have to like have a joke every X amount of seconds to keep the audience. Like I had the worst reading of my life. Actually the only like really bad. I haven't been reading that long, so I've been playing music for 10 years, and I've had many bad experiences.
Yeah.
Because you just do. You just have bad performances, and with readings, I only started reading earlier this year, so I hadn't had a really bad one yet. I had one where my pages were out of order, and I just skipped an entire page, but it kind of made sense without it, but that was stressful. But this one was so bad because I'd written this story for the reading, and it was about me leaving New York. It was about how much I hated being in the city and wanted to be in the middle of nowhere, and it was just not a receptive audience. I mean, the problem was like, first of all, I didn't give an intro. You usually just like talk for a second so people can have an understanding of what the piece is, and I don't mean like it's going to be about this, but more the tone. So I usually introduce a piece and I'm like, well, here's me about to read like a silly little paragraph, and it's like, okay, it's okay to laugh. Like we're all having fun, And I didn't do that. So I seemed like one of those serious reader types that gets up there and is like, thank you for coming. Okay.
That's a really good impression. I know exactly what you mean.
There are people who do that for music, and it always drives me insane when they get up there and they're like, okay, here goes nothing.
Yeah.
It's like so serious, and I usually try not to do that, but I don't know what happened. I was tired. I wasn't thinking. I didn't even introduce myself. Just got up there and read, and like immediately was like, I was making jokes in the piece, but it was not clear that they were jokes, because there was no tone to introduce it as a joke. So people just thought I was very seriously saying these things, which are like in the best light, they're laughable. Like we're all laughing together at me. In the worst light, it's like, I'm going to wait till this is done and then go laugh about her with my friends. And that's how it felt, because these jokes, like they felt like unself-aware jokes,
Yeah.
because it was not clear that I was joking.
Yeah.
And I was like, should I ham it up? I don't know what to do. Like, I'm just like saying these, and I've done a lot of readings. Like, you don't have to be that funny to get a laugh. Like, the crowd's like primed. They want to laugh and have fun, or they'll give you a laugh. These people just did not know I was joking.
Yeah.
It was horrific. I was like going through these pages like, oh my God, please let this end. Not a single laugh the entire, like one point, one guy laughed at something. Like, he just like couldn't help himself and probably was still ridiculing me. But I just bombed. It wasn't even in my head. I came off the stage and I went to my best friend. I was like, that was my worst reading. And she was like, yeah, it didn't land like your other ones have. And I ended up like crying on the sidewalk afterwards. It was awful. So this is my first reading since then.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to be extra
can
bad.
you
I'll be extra bad.
Just laugh at every line of mine,
No,
please.
I'll be extra bad and read before you.
Well,
And then
are you going first?
I have no idea. But now I feel like I should write some fucking stand-up.
I
Instead
mean,
of
your
reading.
book's coming out. You're trying to promote your book. Like, that's important.
For sure.
When is it coming out? Remind us.
June.
Okay, wait, that's when mine is coming out.
Oh, really?
Well, in the UK, so we'll be
okay.
staggered in the US probably.
Okay, cool.
No, don't worry. We're not competing.
No, I'm not worried. No,
You're
no,
like,
I'm genuinely like,
okay.
no, I'm like, cool. We can.
Where's your launch happening?
No, we can, we can promote each other or something.
It's
I
like
don't know.
that. There's a movie with like Kate Hudson, maybe. Who's it? Yeah, and it's like these two friends. They both want to have their wedding at the Plaza Hotel,
Yeah.
and the only way they can have it is like they book on the same day.
Oh, yeah.
And so their weddings are across the hall from each other,
Yeah.
and they just have to do it that way because they both desperately want to get married there, and they're kind of sabotaging each other's weddings. So, they're fighting over the friends and stuff. That's gonna be us when our books launch.
For sure.
It's gonna tear us apart.
But aren't you going to be in the UK?
Yeah, I'll be on tour there.
Yeah.
The news won't even make its way over here.
Yeah.
Yep.
You think you'll get married?
Oh, I've been waiting to be asked that question.
Sorry.
No, really,
Oh, really?
I think about this every day.
Really?
Really, every single day.
Really?
Yeah, I recently, I went and visited my dad's grave for the first time since I like took a Dixie cup and like scooped his ashes. It wasn't very ceremonious, but so I did that a few months ago. But then this is the first time that I visited it a few days ago. And I went and sat down, and there's like this little scraggly tree that we planted there. It's like hopefully going to become big. But so I was just like talking to him. It was my first time. Like I got there. I was like, I don't really know how to do this. But I ended up like talking about this in particular. And I mean, the first thing I said was like, I thought when you died, I was saying this to the little dogwood tree. I was like, I thought when you died, all my priorities would shift, and I would be this elevated person, and I would care about bigger things, stop caring about petty things. But instead, in the 6 months since he's died, I'm just every day like, does this cute person like me? Like, is my stomach too big for these jeans? You know what I mean? Like that I'm just thinking the exact same thoughts as before. So that was my lament. But then I realized, I was like, you know what? The romantic obsessions and the crushes, I'm not gonna completely, set those aside as just petty, trivial, superficial, vain concerns, because ultimately, and this is like, I was crying to the tree, just sobbing and being like, I do want to have a partner. I do want to have like a family. I don't necessarily want kids, but a feeling of a family. I want to have a place, like I want to have someone looking out for me. I was just like, yeah, just talking to this tree, being like, I've proven I can take care of myself, but I also want like an ally. So yeah, I think about this a lot. It's really on my mind. And as you get older, I'm sure you've had this experience too, what you look for in a relationship really changes. And I've noticed this a lot in the past just even year.
How has it changed?
That I went from being like, I want someone who's like, who makes my life like crazy and fun and dramatic and interesting, which, still sounds cool. But now I've started feeling very drawn to people that are just like super consistent and stable. Not like, oh, they make a lot of money and they're going to provide for me, but more like they're just emotionally really even keeled. They don't want too much from life. Like, I feel like I realized I was trying to date myself, but that's too much for one relationship.
Yeah.
Like, I'm too intense. And so it's nice to be with someone that's like, hey, like, you're kind of freaking out, you know? And, like, your mind's, like, going wild. And they're just, yeah, I don't want to say they want less, but they just are more satisfied with being a person, which is really beneficial for me to be around people that are like, it's okay to just wake up and exist. That's a life. For me, I'm like, you know, I have to like win all these awards and be like given all this attention and make all this art and like express myself and be this incredible person. And I want to be that, and I'm not. And it kills me. And then it's nice to just hang out with someone who's like, actually, like, we can just like eat food and rest and like do fun activities, and that's a life. So I want to be around people like that more as I get older.
Yeah, it's not good when you have two people in a relationship who both want the light to shine on them.
Well, what's your situation? Like, do you want to get married?
Yeah.
Have you come close to it?
Yeah. Yeah, I do want to get married and have kids and have a family. Yeah. You know, I think it's a little trickier when, you're like, you don't have that stable career, you know, or maybe I feel like
as a man, I think it's different. I think
as a man,
expectations are really different.
Yeah. I think, and maybe I put a lot of pressure on myself to be like have everything super figured out before I make that leap.
But again, it's great to have the excuse of like, this is why I don't have a partnership, because I'm still working out my finances and my career. So, like, it's not because like, you know, it's hard to meet the right person or whatever. I've fumbled situations, or I need to grow or change. Like, cause I mean, there's always going to be a reason. There's always a reason. But I think it's really just luck. Like, you meet the person or you don't meet the person, you know, in a certain time frame.
Yeah. You know, it reminds me, like, this is, I think, the thing people hate as much as anything about phones is, like, the dating apps.
Oh,
like, I think everybody would be happy to not use those anymore. Yeah.
So let's not. I mean, I have gone through a major shift. I should have written. Did I write about? Oh, I wrote about this in the pamphlet. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, you mentioned it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have this big list of things I wanted to include, and at the end of the day, I was like, "You just got to publish this," but that made it in. That I was addicted to dating apps. Like, really was spending just on Tinder like 5 hours a day.
Yeah.
Like, massively swiping, getting to the point where living in a major city, I would have like thousands of matches. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to be like, my age range was like 30 years, you know, and I'm swiping all day. And so that was my world. And I was just obsessively like, I need to go on a date. I need to go on a date. Like, I would go on 3 dates a day. It was crazy. And I recently got off of them. And I know it's like, when people say this kind of stuff, it really annoys me. But I started meeting people in real life when I got off them.
Yeah.
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 It just happened.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to ride that wave.
In Peterborough? Oh, wait. I can cut that. Sorry. Yeah. We'll cut that down. I'll note the.
Well, but come on.
59,
no, because
59:32.
McDowell's there. Like.
Oh, that's true.
There's no way that we can avoid that. No, and also the funny thing is that people keep saying to me, because they're like, I can't remember the last time a young person moved to this town. They're like, I hope this is the start of something. I hope more people start moving out here. And I'm like, that's really optimistic. I'm just kind of a crazy person. I'm not indicative of a trend. But if anybody wants to move to Peterborough, if anybody's curious and just wants to visit, I'm fully serious. If you're curious about small town life, and you want to come out, check it out, see what's going on, you know, have a little tour, I'm happy to be an ambassador. I would love more people around. Like, there aren't that many young people there. So yeah, I'm not going to go on the record publicly about whether I have romantic interest in this tiny town in which
that's why I mentioned it.
There's literally.
I was like, oh, really? There?
I looked at the demographics. There's like, I think at age 30, there's like 100 something
Yeah.
men, and most of those people are married and have kids, so the pool of like single men
Yeah.
at my age is probably more like 30 people. So anyway, I cannot be like,
Yeah.
let's just start playing Guess Who here.
People get mad at you online about like posting about small town life.
Oh my God. I know. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. I try not to post reactionary tweets, like, in response to things like, well, you guys don't understand. I was trying to say this, and like, it's just a silly thing because then you get more reactions and then you get more angry. But I did post and then delete something very quickly where I was like, you guys don't understand that what's happening here is like, I post something about how much I love my life off the internet. You harass me and ridicule me for it. I get closer to leaving the internet. We both win. Like, you don't have to listen to my shit anymore because I get off the internet and I get to have my wonderful life off the internet. So actually, great. Thank you. Like, fully seriously, thank you for harassing me because it's just making the internet less fun than it already is.
Yeah. Do you think about trolling at all? Is that something like that crosses your mind?
Well,
like as an internet poster?
I think it's interesting. Like a good example of this sort of gray area between complete earnestness and like absolute, trolling and intentional absurdity is Tao Lin.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
You're like, well, she's describing Tao Lin.
Yeah. Well, I think. Right. I mean, trolling is sort of a low resolution for what explanation for what it is. Really, what you're doing is you're exploiting, and I mean that in a neutral sense.
Yeah.
You're exploiting the difference between like your own perception of reality and like
that's so well put.
The consensus perception
that's
of reality.
That's exactly what it is.
So it's like you're under no obligation to like use other people's like consensus perceptions of reality to describe your own life, to describe your relation to your autism diagnosis, right? It's just like, But and you can kind of know people are going to like have emotional reactions to that, and I think that's what gets labeled trolling, which is not the same thing as like my intent in my life day to day going on Twitter is to like make as many people as upset as possible.
Or you're being inauthentic.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's more like if you share 5 sentiments and 2 of them people happen to find insane, you just have a reaction like you're the only person that thinks that, we don't agree with you, then you're like, okay, I'll share more about that because that makes sense to me and you guys don't seem to get it, so I'll explain that more. So, I mean, that's what I guess anti-tech activism kind of is.
Yeah.
That it creates that cycle. I made just one tweet where I was like, I'm like feeling good in a small town and these are all the activities I do. And people lost their minds over it. Like, it was just, I mean, basically the only reaction to it, which I then had to read 1,000 times, was you can do all those activities in a city, which I just thought was beside the point because what I was saying was, like, I'm doing all these things in a small town and it feels nice. Or, like, I started doing these things. And this, also, I did post a clarifying tweet, which I also deleted, where I was like, guys, I was just describing my life.
Yeah.
Like, but people take things so personally where I just wrote, these are the things I do in a week in a small town. This is my schedule. And people were like, but you can do that in Brooklyn. And I'm like, I said nothing about that. I said that I do those things.
I say this as somebody who's like a major living in cities fan, like a New York City booster. Like, people have major cope about their decision to like live in New York City.
Well, they're like Prospect Park is just like, a national forest.
It's like, it's really not. It's really not. You live in a shoebox, like it's dirty.
They're like,
you have roaches.
the only thing you can't do here is go in a pond, but like there's a public pool and it's like, okay. Like you're not, and like when I'm describing going to a run club, like, if you see pictures of a Brooklyn run club, that is not what's happening in New Hampshire. What's happening in New Hampshire is it's like 10 people aged like 25 to 65, all of different abilities, kind of a ragtag group. You get together. There's like not really organization. You're like, should we run around the track? How many laps? I don't know. Everyone's starting. Okay, like whatever. Like it's such a different.
People just like take off, and you're like, I guess the run club
we're gonna like run
yeah.
over there instead. Yeah. Like I don't know. It's just a different atmosphere. Like going to a bowling league in this small town. Like the people who are in the league, who are like scouted for the league, are not much better than the people who just go there, you know, once a year for a birthday party. Like they're just having fun and like it's totally relaxed. People get upset with themselves, but like it's not like here's my fancy bowling bag and my glove and like I train and like I watch YouTube videos and stuff. It's just people communing, people doing activities to have activities to strengthen their network there and to, you know, to fill their lives. And in New York, it just has a different flavor. So you can say you're doing all the same activities. You might prefer the New York version, but it's just different. So that's what I was trying to say. And also, I think it's really important to think about what you stop doing when you leave a city instead of what you start doing. And I think what you stop doing really is like staying out super late and having a lot of substances and, you know, like being overwhelmed and cycling through people like they're disposable. And I'm not saying that the city is totally bad. I'm saying for different people at different points in their lives, like they might need to get out to feel okay.
Definitely. Have you encountered any of like the classic New Hampshire, like flintiness, like kind of like cranky curmudgeonliness?
What I've really struggled with there is the kind of New England Puritan attitude towards emotional expression.
Yeah.
I'm a very open person. Like, I'll meet someone and be like, hey, yeah, I'm struggling. I'm going through this thing. You know, I'm like, my dad just died and I had to do this and I went through a breakup. And, you know, like, I'm so open. And I find that there people do the thing that I experienced a lot in London where they kind of, as an act of what they think is charity, they try to steer me back to a normal.
Yeah,
they're like,
sure,
yeah. You actually like you might not know you stepped out of bounds.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna like help you by kind of like making what you said into a very innocuous, normal statement that will then pass away, and we can go back to, you know, pleasantries or something. It's not that these people aren't deep or don't want to have those conversations. I just think it's what my New York friends, what do they know? What they've said to me is like, maybe it's just you're expecting to have that conversation immediately and they need to know you for a few weeks before having that conversation. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they do call it New England, you know. Still got a stiff upper lip.
I think I always thought that I grew up in New England, being from Connecticut.
Ah, yeah, not the same.
Did not grow up in New England.
Same.
Nope.
And you're from like somewhere near this New York, right?
Yeah, I'm from the New York area, so it's. But I always thought I was like New England pride. No.
Yeah, no way.
But you got it.
It ain't like New Hampshire.
This must be really hard for you talking about such personal issues, being from New Hampshire.
It is hard for me. Yeah. But it's been a joy to talk about. I mean, I was really excited when I found out you moved to New Hampshire.
Would you ever move back?
You know, my entire life, I would have said, like, that's the last thing I'll ever do.
But ever. After this conversation.
No, yeah, I mean, now you're like, oh, well, it's, you know.
I think
it's got some things to recommend it.
Yeah.
For me, like, I do absolutely dream of, like, a rural life, you know. Oh, yeah, and I wanted to ask you a little bit more about your professional life. Well, no, because, I mean, everyone should go out and buy August's pamphlet. No, seriously, about smartphones. Because, you know, it's one of those things I know everyone kind of thinks about, but nobody, like, thinks about it for 20 minutes straight.
Well, that's because it's you don't want to think about it because it's one of those things that you know. Yeah. It's like, I did this for years, and my goal is to just, for one person, save them the few years of knowing what I needed to do. Yeah. And just, like... I went through a period where it was like I had the dumb phone and I'd been using it, and then I switched back to the smartphone. I'd look at the dumb phone and be like, I really, like, I know I need to go back. Yeah. I know that's what's right. I know I'm wasting my life. I'm like, just like cowering in my room, like swiping really quickly on people. Like, I'm like, let me just go to my room to grab a sweater. I'll be right back out. And then I'm just like swiping on a dating app for 10 minutes and being like, I can't find my sweater. What? That's crazy. So I look at this dumb phone and be like, I need to go back to that. And now that I'm just fully living my life without a smartphone, I'm like, why did I live in that tension for so long?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I put off, having this amazing life, which is true. It's just like I put off making that choice, like just finally, because having a smartphone is not making a choice, because every single second you have to be like, don't look at the smartphone for 24 hours, and you have to like force yourself to not look at it. So anyway, you asked an actual question. What was your, how does my, where's the money coming from?
No. Well, yes, but I would love to live a rural life, right?
Yeah.
So, I've gone off different places looking for like Mallorca. Like, this is where the poet Robert Graves went off to live.
No, we're going to have our commune in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Okay, a retreat for you. It'll be a retreat.
New Hampshire is really low on the list. But because I would like somewhere warmer.
Okay, yeah.
So, but I think about my professional life,
yes.
right? So I can more or less take my professional life anywhere. And so I don't think that's a big issue. However, there are certain things where, I feel like, I'm a little bit into crypto stuff, right? Sometimes I want to make a trade really quickly. Like this is, probably not like the first thing that was holding you back when you thought about
I cashed in all my Bitcoin.
Yeah, you cashed in all your Bitcoin. All right, wow. We're about to hit an all-time high, so that was that was a poor choice. But I think, and August does write. You do write in your you do write in your pamphlet about like all these things like two-factor authentication. Like you can basically make all this stuff work, but do you find yourself on the computer a lot for professional reasons? Do you find it challenging to maintain a professional life as an artist who posts on social media, as a writer who must post on social media? Do you find it more of a challenge to do those things without a smarphone?
Well, I don't really do them, and my career suffers.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Because you're like, you post on social media. I post maybe one thing on Instagram per month.
Yeah.
And so my following goes down by a few thousand every month. It's like maybe a few thousand a year at this point. But like it's dropped a lot. It's dropped about 20,000 from its high just because I'm not very active. I'm not posting those stories. So there's no traction.
You've lost more Instagram followers than most people have gained. Means you've got some real battle scars.
Oh, that's funny. No, it does sound kind of obnoxious.
No, but it does, but it's like, it's a real sacrifice you're making because it is your career.
Yeah,
it's a real thing.
It's an investment in a different kind of career, which I would like to be. And people say this doesn't exist, but to just have a more traditional career where you're. Like Sally Rooney doesn't have social media. Like Otessa Moshfegh doesn't have social media. I know there's other superstars.
Exactly.
Like, of course, yes.
And also, Otessa Moshfegh is doing a lot of selling on Depop.
Really?
No, she is. Yeah. I don't know, but it's true.
But like you can make a career without it. My problem is that I started on those channels, and so there's no real way out. But I think it is possible. I think there's a movement now. My goal is to make it possible for people to have an art career without social media, because it really damages your creativity. It takes away from your time to work. It gives you a bunch of other jobs. But yeah, to answer your question, in terms of actual real world networking, stuff like that, events, I come in to the city like twice a month. I'm here now,
Yeah.
I'm doing a reading tonight. So yeah. So there are certain things, I try to plan them together. Like in a few weeks, there's a drawing show that I'm a part of, and there's another reading, and then I'm doing an interview. So trying to be like, I'm going to be in town for these days, and I can do it then and bundle them. So it's not the same as like living in a different part of the world. It's just everything's more compressed. But the online stuff, emails they have a false urgency to them. It's like, it's okay. You can take a day to reply to an email. So I'm on my email a lot, but like there's rarely something that urgent. The only situations in which it would be urgent, like let's say there's something that they're going to publish today and there might be last minute edits, I'll just be like, I'm not going to have my computer. Here's my cell number if you need to call me. Like, So it's never been an issue in terms of immediacy. Like for traction online, I'm just not that popular online, except when I say inflammatory statements about my very quiet, peaceful existence.
You know what else will get people going? Is if you mention how many books you've read over the past few years.
Yeah.
Because you included that stat in your pamphlet, which I love.
It's very obnoxious, but like...
No, but it's like...
It's a wake-up call.
Yeah, it's also just like,
I really deliberated over that because it's so obnoxious to say, oh, I read so much. But it's... reading is simply hours. It's hours. It's attention span too, but like those hours would have been spent on my phone. And... now I've read books, and that's cool. Like, I wasn't a writer when I had a smartphone, and now I'm a writer because I have all this time. It's great.
In a way, I think you did it the best possible way because... No, I'm serious. No, I'm serious because, like, if you're a starting writer or artist now, like, you go to anybody will say, like, oh, you gotta... like get on social media and like build a platform for yourself. Yeah. That's what people will tell to everyone who's like starting out. You've done that and you're still young. And now like, people will be like, oh, nobody's going to be like, oh, you need to be on Instagram or Twitter more, right? You can just do your work. And it's sort of, Tao Lin, who you brought up earlier, is sort of in a similar situation where it's like, it's sort of funny to think about it like this, but it's like making the sacrifice of being a social media addict early in one's life. Like, it's sort of like back in the day, you would be like, okay, I'll go work on Wall Street for 10 years.
Yeah, you're right.
And then I'll like be a poet.
I saved up so I could retire early.
You kind of did. Like, I think it's
That's
like...
so funny. I've never thought of it that way. I've always felt like I ruined my life and sacrificed my youth. But, I mean...
well, sometimes it takes another perspective to...
No, this is the... I don't really like the way you phrase it because then it makes me feel like, did I just get those book deals because they're like, oh, well, she has a following, so it'll sell. That sort of thing, No. I mean, it really does make a difference in publishing. But it doesn't matter how you get there. It's like, once you get there, do you have merit? And can your... work stand on its own 2 feet. So that really is that's not for me to say. But, I think now what I want to use my platform for is to make it so it's possible to not, like when you're starting out as a writer, to not be on social media. And that I had this other thing, it's still a mailing list. It's a mailing list for people who are artists or writers on social media and wish that they didn't have to be on social media. So, and I interviewed some people for that. It was just a project. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it. But it's something I'm working on. It's a mailing list. It's like, I don't know, like 1,000 people or something. I haven't even used the mailing list. It's just actual list of emails. But it's a bunch of people who are like, I am willing to participate in a strike. So the idea of the strike would be that a number of people who use the internet to promote their work would say, okay, on this day for a certain amount of time that would be agreed upon, I'm not going to use social media to promote my work. And then it would be like crossing a picket line if you were to then go online and say, oh, I'm doing this event, when everybody's decided to go off. So the point is... But
you could still post flyers.
Oh, of course. Yeah. It's about strengthening those networks. Like making it so, okay, I follow a lot of authors and suddenly hopefully a bunch of them are participating in this thing. They're not going to be online. So then there's this moment of like, wait, but then how will I know when anything's happening? And then you got to start thinking more creatively. Like, okay, do I get I believe in newsletters. Like you do a newsletter, and I don't think that is problematic. Newsletter, like Substack is weird in its own like social media way, but the newsletter itself, email list, I think is a good thing. Right. It's better than a physical newsletter for me because I move around a lot. So I think that can stay in the sense of the internet. So you start looking around, you're like, newsletters, flyers. Like, if I want to hear about gigs, maybe I go to the record shop. maybe I have a friend who's really attuned to things and like knows everything, and I ask him, and then I text my other friend, I SMS my friends and say, there's this gig, I heard about it. I don't, have a link or whatever. It's just, I heard about it. And so if you give it enough time, I think that whether or not it really does revive those networks, at least it will make you aware that those exist and you don't need to rely on social media. And then also it would just take kind of some of the fun away from social media. Because if you remove all the people who don't really want to be there and are kind of anxious and are against the idea of social media, a lot of the people who are left are like the kind of like weird people that are obsessed with social media and aren't necessarily the most wholesome people that you would look up to and want to emulate their lifestyles. They're kind of addicted to the internet. Yeah. And then if the internet just becomes AI and and bots and people who are addicted to and obsessed with the internet, and all the like sensitive souls that can't handle it decide to leave and support each other elsewhere, the internet becomes a very different place. So it's utopian, of course, but that's the idea.
One thing I think it would be super interesting as an experiment, like, and sounds like you've already got this underway, but think about our reading tonight, right? Yeah. There's like 12 people who are going to be reading. It's, like if everybody on that list was like, okay, I won't post about this on social media, but I'll commit to like putting up some flyers or putting it on my email list. Yeah. Like to see how that would affect like how many people would actually turn out. It
can give an event exclusivity to be like, I can't find the Instagram account for this venue,
That's true. That's right. I mean, now is Particle social media? Is Luma social media?
Yeah.
I mean, but those things are more like email lists. I mean, that's how Sovereign House often gets out there.
That's more of a logistical tool.
Yeah, it's true.
It's different when it's not personal, it's not ranked, it's not liked or voted or anything.
There are no likes. That's different. Kind of. I mean, what you were saying really reminded me of this project that I put many years into in some way called Urbit, which is like, I don't know if you've heard.
You've mentioned it to me. I still don't understand what it is.
It's such a bitter irony because like Urbit is this software project that's like seen to be like Machiavellian and is actually like possibly, if it fails, it will be because it's way too principled. Like it's like it's like a group of like very talented tech, software engineers, right? Yeah. Who each like for whatever reason has like extremely principled beliefs about like this is what software should do. Like it shouldn't be built to be so coercive, right? Like, and so it's like you sort of have to get all those people together and get them sort of focused on one goal, even though, it often turns out to be people who have like very, very particular ideas about like what's ethical in software and what isn't. And then B, you have the problem of trying to create something that can compete with these other software projects, like while being principled. And I think that turns out to be the more difficult project. Man, it's been like at least 6 months since I've explained what Urbit is. Like this used to be my bread and butter.
Well, why do you say if it fails? Is it not like what's the problem with it?
Yeah, I mean, the problem right now, I think, is that there's a difficulty in getting it like competitive from like people are just used to everything just like working in this very, very seamless, perhaps all too seamless way.
Well, because they're used to big corporation.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's like beta tested and everything.
Exactly. And it's designed to, you open up TikTok and within like 10 seconds there's like, I don't know, a booty flashing in your face. You've never used it. It's like, you just open it up and there's like a video.
Yeah.
Super briefly, Urbit was a project like, like if you send me a message on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, that's not going straight from your device to my device, right? That's that's just all held in one database that belongs to Instagram or Twitter, right? When the internet was invented, it wasn't like this. The internet was a peer-to-peer system, right? So if I sent a message to you, it would go directly from my device to your device. The thesis of Urbit is that so many of the ills of the internet are downstream of this client-server paradigm, right? Because, when you're just using somebody else's big server, they can arbitrarily ban you. They can, subtly shift the platform so it gets more and more addictive. They can send you coercive ads, right? So what if we made the internet peer-to-peer again?
Yeah.
And that was the Urbit project. That is the Urbit project.
Is it like when you torrent and you get a file from someone?
That it's like that in that also is peer-to-peer. And that's like one of the few things that like a person might do on the internet today that is still peer-to-peer. So, the idea was to like create a network of personal servers. So like Facebook has its big server farm, and like, whenever I message you on Instagram, I'm basically like entering data onto their servers. But like you can have a server on your own laptop. No, you don't ever think about it because you wouldn't do that. Like I use my laptop just to like log into other people's servers.
Yeah.
But I can actually serve information from my laptop. Or if I want it to be a little more, or if I'm afraid I might drop my laptop, I can have my server in the cloud. But then it's still not like the same big database as everybody else. It's my personal server. I can decide what apps have permissions into it. I can decide what's going out. Every message I send is peer-to-peer.
Is the idea to live your entire online existence just peer-to-peer, or to have it be a segment of your computer life?
I think, the dream is to have it completely peer-to-peer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, like, one of the terms that gets thrown around a lot is calm computing, right? This idea that we could like do all the same things we would want to do.
So could you do a newsletter and just like send it to all the like servers that you know? Is that how it would work?
Yeah. Yeah, basically. I mean, I could even show it to you, but it's like, you could still have all the things you would have, like, that you use on the internet now, right? It's like, you could still potentially have a social network if you wanted to have a social network, but it would be like, oh well, if something changes, you'll just like leave, and then like somebody else will host like a different social network on there. So there's sort of more modularity and more a little bit more freedom, sovereignty, whatever term you prefer. Yeah.
It's like the wild, wild country of
yeah.
the web.
Yeah. So, it's a beautiful dream. It's a really cool project. And, it's been around for a while, and it's still it's still there. So it's,
How many users are there?
It's a good question. Like active users, probably in the low thousands.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Are they all around the world, or are they like
those
are your close friends?
Both. They're my close friends who are all around the world.
Great.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
So you were saying that you feel like because you're involved in that scene, living elsewhere, like living outside of a city, would be less feasible?
I think I think I probably just have a series of irrational fears, as most people do.
Or you just
about,
like the city.
Yeah, I do like the city. I mean, there's a few things. There's like, this has been my home all of my adult life. Like I moved to the city right out of college, and like this is my home. I feel very comfortable here. My network of people I know is here. The people I care about are mostly here. I don't drive. Like I'm just like a city person.
Yeah.
And yet, like, I yearn for like the peace and quiet of the countryside.
How did you grow up in New Hampshire and not learn how to drive?
just, you know, sheer ingenuity.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, the real answer is I went to boarding school, and then like
Okay.
I was like in driver's ed, and I got not expelled but permanently suspended, and then I just went to Chicago where I went
Was
to college.
it car related? What, your
No,
suspension?
no,
Or did
it wasn't. No, but I was taking driver's ed at the time.
Oh,
My
okay.
driver's ed
I
was
thought you got
was
suspended
interrupted.
from driver's ed.
No, but in effect, I did get suspended from driver's ed. And then, you know, I think it became, after that, it became a neurosis. Or like, it became a loaded, it became, like driving became something that was
in my 30s.
overdetermined. You wouldn't start in your 30s?
I mean, maybe it's fine, but like, it's so intuitive to me, having started at whatever, 15 or 16.
Yeah.
That I mean, it's like, it's so intuitive that sometimes it's like walking where you're like, how do my legs know how to bend and predict that? But with driving, it's this thing where your body just, you like know exactly, like you have this ability to look at a car and be like, it's going that speed, it's that distance away from me, it looks like it's going in that direction, therefore I can merge, and I have to be at this speed, and I have to do it at this point, and I have to signal. Like, how do you predict that? I don't know, but it's ingrained at a certain point.
So you don't think I can learn it? Huh?
No, maybe that's just being a human and understanding velocity, you know. But
No, I know. I mean, I cycle, and it's sort of the same thing with cycling. Like,
okay.
Yeah. Like, I know what you mean.
Maybe also like anybody who just exists and moves through space can predict cars.
Yeah, I think we have occult powers that we don't know about also. But before we get into that, I know Greg has to leave. I don't want to keep you past...
What's our timing? What is it?
You guys are at an hour 32.
Hour 32. And I gotta get the files onto here as well. So
Well, what are your closing remarks?
what are my closing remarks? You know, I would love to tell everyone to come watch us read at KGB tonight, but that doesn't work.
Tell them
because
to
of
ditch their smartphones.
time. Yeah, ditch your smartphones.
Because that's an
Yeah,
evergreen topic.
buy August's pamphlet. Like, really not just for shilling. Like, I think it's you in your works cited. You have this guy Jaron Lanier. You know, I'm a little ambivalent about him.
Really?
Well, I think you start to get this class of tech people who make a career out of like tech skepticism in a way that starts to rub me the wrong way.
Wouldn't you, if
when
you
I
had
see them,
seen it, if you'd been inside, you would, and you wanted to raise the alarm, you would, I think I would, if I'd seen that.
yeah.
Because I read his book and it was like, that to me, I kept my smartphone after that.
Yeah.
But it was like, I couldn't believe that all these things that I had thought were just, you know, symptoms of paranoia for me. You know, I feel like this is happening online. I feel like this is where I'm being pushed, you know, and what these companies want from me. And then he'd just be like, this is literally what they are trying to do. And that was terrifying to me.
I think, I was actually going to just like say something more or less nice about him.
Okay.
But no, but my ambivalence is like, I think, you know, I feel like these guys get like this far off the reservation, but they never like get this far. And that, you know, they sort of like end up aligning themselves with the government and like regulation in this very like sinecure, prestige, like, I go to the New Yorker festival.
No, but there's always this irony to anti-tech activism, not just the irony of being online and talking about it, but the irony of talking about this thing that you just wish there was less. You just kind of like you propagate it by trying to exterminate it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll be even more explicit. Like, in COVID era, in the last election cycle, there was like deep collusion between the government and these social media companies around like suppressing certain sorts of information. Yeah. And I just like never see these guys like, you know, it's always like, oh, the evil like corporations that are like trying to maximize profit, but never like, oh, like why is like Twitter and the government like?
So from your perspective, it's like they don't want to bite the hand that feeds them.
A little bit, yeah. And so it becomes the sort of like, you know, they're just like have these careers of, you know, minor dissidents, but never enough dissidents to forget what side of the toast is buttered. You know what I'm trying to say.
Sure,
But yeah, no. Yeah, my final thought would be get August pamphlet seriously, because what I was going to say nicely about Jan Lanier, I like what he says is like, not everybody has to get off social media, but what if like enough people did that there was like kind of a quorum, and we could like sort of see what it was.
Say critical mass.
Yeah, see what it was like just to like have that quorum of people not on it, and like we can compare the two things and like see which is like better.
Exactly. That's what I'm always saying with this smartphone thing is like, people think I'm trying to save their lives and make them happy and give them their time back. I'm trying to make my life better, because I'm off my smartphone, but doesn't matter because everybody else is on their smartphone all the time. So it's like, great, I'm just super present with the feeling that nobody else is present. So like, it doesn't really benefit me. I would love to see more people, you know, just being where they are and engaging in a really just open, spontaneous way, and, you know, not reaching for something if there's 5 seconds of silence. These are all very basic things that probably turn people off because you've heard it a million times before. But like, my goal, I always say, my goal for my activism is for everyone to know somebody with a dumb phone. That's it. Like, I don't want anybody to be like, wow, you can do that, but how? I've never heard of that. That's crazy. What is that thing you're holding? But how does that, like, I want people to just be like, oh yeah, my coworker, Steve. Yeah, he's got one of those. I've heard all about it. I just want everyone to know. And your grandma doesn't count, people. You have to know one. Actually, the elderly are like, they're the least likely to have a dumb phone because they're just like, whatever comes out, they don't have the savviness to be like, I'm gonna choose. They're just like, I have to get that. It's true. It's true. It's like, you know, it was always about people would always warn like, oh, you young people, you're like too into video games and like social media. And now the boomers, like, I feel like, they're the most compromised in a way. Yes. So it's everyone, but it doesn't have to be. But it doesn't have to be, because you can buy August pamphlet. Yes. Yeah. All right. Thank you. This was fun. Thank you for inviting me. Yeah.